Sara Ali Khan, a pleasure to have you here in London.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This is your first one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
I'm so privileged.
Oh, not at all. It's me. I'm so excited to be here. A little nervous because it's the first time I'm actually doing a one-on-one, but you've been really nice, so I'm
So
quite
far.
comfortable so far.
How many years have you dreamt of really living this life?
For as long as I can remember. So I would say 23 years because that's how old I am. But I think by the age of like 4 or 5, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I actually studied at a school called Besson Montessori School. And my parents were very keen that I get admission in that school. So they called the headmaster and they said, you know, we have this really studious daughter and it'll be, you know, really good for her and please do consider her. And I actually was on the phone with the headmaster because she wanted to kind of hear me out and this, that and the other. And I took the phone and I went, Damadam mast kalandar, Ali da pehla number. And I think that's how I got admission into the school.
So you were an arts kid through and through to begin
I've
with?
always wanted to do this, but I was also very studious. So I've actually studied at Columbia University and I have a degree in history and political science.
You said that you have dreamt of living this life for 23 years, as long as you can remember.
Yes.
But is there a moment when you saw a film or you saw a scene or you saw a song that you thought, that needs to be me?
You know, I mean, growing up, every time there would be these films that would come out, I would be like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Kareena, I think, in K3G, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, was like just amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do.
In fact, you recently said that Kareena, who is now your father's wife as well, you said that it's still strange for you.
It is, because I mean, I've been such a big fan of hers.
In that particular character.
In that particular character, that it's weird sometimes that I know her personally.
Going back to your childhood, everybody surrounding you was either in the movie business or connected to it somehow. Your grandmother, your mother, your father, your father's wife, everybody was connected, your aunt. How was that? Was that unusual?
You know, if I'm being honest with you, I think that even though everybody has kind of been in the films, that never really came home. My mother stopped doing serious work before I was born, you know. So it wasn't a star house, you know. I lived with mom, and my father was very particular about me studying, and mom was very particular about us having a normal life. So whether it's kind of the way that we holiday or the way that we live our lives, lunch, dinner, I mean, it's a very normal ghar.
How can you have a normal childhood, a normal upbringing in that kind of environment?
As far as my father's concerned, he was never one of those Bollywood is dinner table conversation kind of people. Even now, in fact, now that I've kind of been back and I graduated about 2.5 years ago and I've just started working, I like to talk about Bollywood a little bit because it's all so new. And he still doesn't encourage it, you know.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, conversations are totally different. I mean, we talk about history, we talk about politics, we talk about world affairs, we even talk about, like, you know, food. But very seldom is, like, Bollywood brought up. So as far as he's concerned, it was that. And as far as mom's concerned, I think that she was extremely particular that both me and Ibrahim have like a normal childhood, because even though there are benefits and privileges and perks of kind of coming from a acting background family, it can also, you know, go to the head a little bit if you're not kind of put in check.
When you moved abroad to study, was there a culture shock of sorts? I mean, you said that your mum tried to raise you in a normal environment, but a lot of people will question how normal that environment can be when you're going to Diwali parties with the biggest stars.
You know, none of that happened till I graduated. That's what I'm trying to... I'm glad you brought that up, because when I say that mum tried to give us a kind of normal childhood, that's what I mean.
Right.
Diwali parties, birthday parties, Christmas parties, random parties, high parties, that's all very recent.
Right, okay.
It was never... You know, I mean, the first film set I really remember being on is the first 2 days of Kedarnath when Sushant was shooting and I wasn't.
Wow.
That's the first time that I was really on a film set. So socially or professionally, it's been quite new for me.
So when you decided that you wanted to be an actress, when did you tell the family?
The family knew.
Right.
The family knew. When I was 4 years old, making calls to the headmaster, singing Bollywood songs, they knew. When I was age 5 and 6, I used to do ads in
Right.
my house on a video camera.
Oh, they didn't go anywhere?
Of course not. Like, my parents saved me from that little bit of humiliation, but like full-on ads. Like, this is a washing powder, and please buy it, except in Hindi. And I couldn't even say Nirma. Because there was this washing powder called Nirma. I used to say Mirma.
Wow.
So I used to say washing powder, Mirma, Mirma, Mirma. And I was like, it
Can't
was
believe
a
you didn't
blast.
get hired after that to do one.
Nobody's seen it.
Well, if they saw it now, you'd get all those brand
Oh,
endorsements
okay.
now.
I should find them. Brands are good, I hear.
Yeah.
I should find them and release them.
You should.
I'm going to do that when I go back.
Did your mum ever try to talk you out of it? She had obviously been an A-list actress herself. She'd seen not just the highs, but also the lows of living your life in the spotlight. Did she ever try to dissuade you from being an actress?
You know, I wouldn't use the word dissuade, but I think that she and my father have both kind of tried to give me a very rounded perspective of what it is, you know. It can, from what they say, can be a daunting experience. It can be a hard job. But I think that if you have your head on your shoulders, if you have a good support system, and you have some semblance of a life external to the films, then I think you're fine. And I think that instead of, or rather than dissuading me from joining the films, both my parents have endeavored to inculcate some form of external values in me, and also my brother. So that whether we decided to do movies or law or anything, we could be, you know, happy and peaceful despite, you know, the trials and tribulations of our job.
So your father said get an education. You
Yes.
got that out of the way.
Yes.
You then came back to Mumbai and you went, well, you underwent a transformation of sorts, didn't you? Talk to me about your weight loss journey because, you know, people find it fascinating.
I find it fascinating. I mean, sometimes I look at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, wow, I lost weight.
You've also said on record that you felt like you couldn't be an actress at that point.
Of course not. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't lose weight after coming back. I actually lost weight in my senior year of college.
Right.
So I went to Columbia for 4 years, but then at the end of the second year, I decided that I really, really, really want to act. Like I said, I've always known, but I was decently smart. So I got waylaid into believing maybe I'll do law, maybe I'll do politics. But then I decided at the end of the second year that, you know, this is what I want to do. And that realization coincided with the weighing scale saying that I'm 96 kilos.
Right.
So it was a bit difficult. And then it was actually the senior year of college in America itself that I lost the weight.
What did you kind of say to yourself, or what kind of regime did you go under to make that happen?
You know, I lived on 110th and Broadway. And there used to be this pizza place called Tom's on 110th and Broadway. And for 2 years, I've eaten so much of that pizza, the first 2 years of my college. I didn't even realize that there was this vitamin shop right next to it.
No way.
Where you get these protein bars and these bowls and these, you know, salads. And I think that was it. It was the movement from Tom's Pizza to the vitamin shop salads. And somewhere in the middle of that, I lost the weight.
And were you gymming at the same time?
Every day. Every day. Running to Bollywood music on the treadmill, like as fast as I could. So, yeah, it was gymming and eating right.
You have said in an interview that you were body shamed in India prior to that.
No. I wasn't body shamed. I was being funny. Okay. And that's not funny because body shaming is
it's
a serious
not. That's
thing.
why I asked you.
There were comments, of course. But those weren't really the problem. And it's never been like that with me, you know. It's never really about what you say. It's about how I feel. So I think people's behavior is what was different, you know. Like, you know, I laugh about it. But I mean, a guy asking you out on a date was not an option, you know, because it just wouldn't happen. People would be like, you know, oh, you know what I'm saying? So nobody really came up to me and said, you're fat. Okay, everybody did. But that wasn't what got me. Of course, yeah. Everybody. In school, in college. My father once said that if you put on another kilo, we won't be able to say fat because it'll be rude.
And did you feel a kind of added sense of empowerment, of confidence when you shed that extra weight?
If I'm being very honest with you, I've never really derived confidence from the way that I look. But I think that people, more than me, find it important to in order to be taken seriously sometimes, you need people to actually listen to you. And I find that people listen to me more now.
But isn't Bollywood more accepting now of people of different shapes, different sizes? I mean, when a Bhumi Pednekar can make her debut in a film like Dum Laga Ke Haisha, playing an overweight character, or if a Vidya Balan can be curvier than your normal Bollywood actress, isn't that a sign of progression and more openness to accepting people of different shapes and sizes?
Of course it is. And I think that in a lot of ways, we as an industry are progressing and accepting. But having said that, I mean, it's not just about being accepted. Like, it's also a personal thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I aspire for like a size 0 body, because it's not even going to happen, you know, and I'm okay with that. But you don't have to be 96 kgs either. Apart from just acting, it's not a healthy way to live.
Yeah.
I joke about it now, but I was really, really large, and for no reason. And then, you know, it messes up your hormones, it messes up your health, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just a bad place to be.
So education done, transformation done. Why Kedarnath? Where did this come from? I mean, how long were you looking for the right script before this one came along?
I wouldn't say I was kind of looking for the right script. I was waiting to be found, you know. Like, I was just waiting to hear something that would just be like, this is what I want to do. And when the writer, Kanika Dhillon, along with my director, Abhishek Kapoor, reached out to me and narrated the script to me, I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
You said that you were waiting to be found.
Yes.
That's not the situation that most new artists find themselves in. Prior to you saying that you'd signed Kedarnath, there were so many reports of who was going to launch you.
Yes.
Do you think you had an advantage in finding this script because you are the daughter of Saif Ali Khan and Amrita Singh?
Yes, I do. This has become a conversation back home recently more than it was. This word nepotism that a lot of people talk about. And I don't think that I can run away from that. I think it would be hypocritical and even wrong for me to say that it doesn't exist.
Definitely the kind of perks of being an insider.
There is. I think that the main perk is access. What it does is it allows this, for instance, you know, I mean, I'm in London with my mother. We've come to see my brother, who I haven't seen in a while. But I'm sitting here in the BBC office talking to you. That's a privilege. I could go to Rohit sir's office and say, sir, would you please consider me for Simba? That's a privilege. So the access that my parents have worked so hard to, you know, enable me to have is not something that I can deny or something that I can run away from. But having said that, and it almost sounds like I'm, you know, getting defensive, but I'm not. Having said that, I think that back home, the tonality of this conversation around nepotism has become slightly harsh. What I'm trying to say is that while star kids, as much as I hate that term, do have easier access into this line maybe, if you're not good, you're going to be asked to leave.
But if you're not good, you probably wouldn't get a second chance.
That's
but
exactly.
You're in a position where you have 2 films releasing in the space of 3 weeks.
Yes.
You will get a second chance, even if the first film doesn't do well.
Yes. Yeah, you're right, I will. And I can really just thank Rohit sir for that opportunity, because I myself am in shock, you know, that I am in this predicament, because it's been what one has dreamt of. And I realize sometimes, and if I'm being honest with you, let me just say it, that I do carry the burden of a little bit of pressure. Doing your first film, knowing that your second film is coming out, I'm done shooting for 2 films without anybody even seeing the first one. I am aware of the pressure that comes with. I am aware that is going to be seen by many as an unearned opportunity, and when that happens, the pressure is even greater.
Do you feel the pressure for these films to perform well, for your performance to be appreciated?
It's not, I don't know if the word is really pressure, but I feel like there's a give and take, you know, like if we talk about the benefits of coming from this family, I think the pressure would be, you know, the other side of the same coin. Because the same way that I'm given this opportunity, I now have to prove forget anybody else, but honestly to myself that I'm worthy of that. I feel very, very privileged and very, very accepted and welcomed. So the pressure is not that external, but there is that internal pressure because I'm aware that I have got this opportunity easier than somebody else could have.
Your debut film, Kedarnath, is a romantic drama set against the backdrop of real events, the North Indian floods in 2013. This real event saw the loss of nearly 6,000 lives. When you read the script initially, did you feel like it had been handled sensitively?
Yeah, not just the floods, but there are a lot of aspects of the film that could, be questionable in terms of whether they've been handled sensitively or not. But I think that from our end, we've endeavored to ensure sensitivity in all aspects, and let's just hope that people feel the same way.
What did you learn about this particular phase in 2013 that you might not have known prior to making this film?
You know, one had heard about the Uttarakhand floods, and one was aware of, the tragedy that took place, but the way that it happened and the extent to which it happened, I mean, I had no idea. Houses were just, they were there and then they just weren't there, So, I mean, the level and the magnitude of just catastrophe that this flood brought about is something that one learned.
You must have known when you signed this film as your debut movie that this was going to be a challenge for any actor. How did you feel when you were actually on set?
I didn't realize.
Really?
I didn't realize. I mean, now that you guys have seen the trailer, there's a fair amount of work in the floods and in the water, just in general. And if you've seen that there's this scene where I'm doing this Ganga Dubki, where my father is making me do dubkis in the Ganga. And this is all in the script, obviously. And I haven't realized that I have to shoot it like this. So there were days on set where we were doing night shoots and rain shoots and underwater shoots and Ganga shoots. And I was like, there's so much water. It's really, really cold. And I in fact was joking on set a lot that I didn't realize it would be like this. I didn't realize it would be like this. And they were like, it's called Kedarnath.
Yeah, exactly.
You did realize. And I said, yeah, I should have.
Was it a bit of a kind of shock to the system about the actual workload of an actor on set?
I'll tell you something. There have been days that one is shot, with a little bit of fever. There have been days where one is shot because, in the song, for instance, I had pinned my dupatta and there were scratch marks on my back because of it. I was dancing in heels, so my feet were hurting. Sometimes, it was, like I said, it was quite cold when we were shooting in Uttarakhand. But not just between action and cut, but actually between walking onto set and walking off set. One doesn't feel this stuff. People have said this to me before and I didn't really realize it, but it is true. Whatever it was, any form of difficulty, even a sore throat or fever, the minute they would say pack up, I would go into the car feeling like a total victim, like I'm really not well. And my spot girl would say, you were fine all day. And I don't know what it is. Whether
it's adrenaline kind of keeping
I don't
you
know
going?
if it's adrenaline, if it's fear, if it's excitement, if it's enthusiasm, if it's team spirit, if it's, just self. I don't know what it is, but it's there. And there have been days that have been tiring. There have been days where we've shot double shift.
They weren't double shifts between your two different films, were they?
There was for 2 days of work.
What was that like?
I was shooting in Hyderabad for Simba, and I was shooting in Bombay. And my makeup artist actually did makeup for me in the car.
Really?
Yeah, because we took a flight. We shot till about 4 in the morning in Hyderabad. Took the flight at like 6 in the morning. Kedarnath was quite particular that they wanted me ready on set at like 8:30 in the morning. And I'd only landed at like 7:30.
Wow.
So I came onto set at 8:30 and the first lady was like, you said you'd be here ready. I said, I just have to change my costume. I've done hair and makeup in the car. And she's like, what? I said, yeah.
Are people surprised by your kind of passion and enthusiasm on set? Because there is this notion that, the new kids, I know you don't like the term star kids, but there is this notion that they feel very entitled, that they feel like, things should just be done for them.
I find it, I don't know about whether star kids are entitled. I don't know if that's the way, or I don't know any of that. But what I do know is that this is my job. This is my face. Whether, today, for instance, I'm in London and the people that have brought me here were very loving and very, welcoming. And they were like, "Oh, it's so nice of you to do this. You're on holiday." And I was like, "What do you mean? This is my first film. Thank you for letting me do this." You know, how can they? Why would there be entitlement? Why would I not want to be ready on time? Why would I not want to know, make sure that my hair and makeup is perfect? Why would I not want to do that? I don't even think that makes me professional. I think it makes me normal. It's not going beyond in any way. It's me, I think, doing the bare minimum.
Your co-star on your second film, Ranveer Singh, just got married a couple of days ago.
I think like yesterday.
Yesterday and the day before. 2 ceremonies, 2 days.
Yeah.
It gave you a couple of days break to chill, breathe, come to London and relax a little bit. He is a bigger superstar than Sushant, and that's fact speaking. How was it going from one set to the other? 2 different personalities that you were working in. What were they both like as individuals?
I think that the entire setup, not just Sushant and Ranveer, but the entire setup was very different. I think that, and when I talk about that to, say, my mother, she says that every movie set is different and every experience is different. With Sushant and Abhishek sir, it was also my first film. And so it was quite different, Sushant was almost like a mentor to me. There have been days that I was a little unsure about how to do something and how I should do it or not. And he was very, very helpful. Ranveer, by the time I had gone onto set, Hindi and all had kind of...
That was done. Yeah.
Done. But the level of energy that Ranveer has, it's contagious. It's contagious. And I think that he has so much dedication. Even on a film like Simba that's, perceived as just this action comedy fun film, it's a blast to be on set, but seeing the level of detailed work that Rohit Shetty and Ranveer Singh do till date, and they are arguably the biggest names in the fraternity today, it's amazing. It's really, really outstanding.
The paparazzi follow you on a daily basis. The big difference between when your mother was an actress and today is the amount of media, the access that the media have, social media, really all these things that you're having to deal with that maybe she didn't have to.
It's true.
How are you finding that?
What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Is it different to what it was when mom was around? Yes. Do I know what it was like when mom was around? No. So, I feel like a lot of times...
But they don't even leave your little brother alone. They're more, the poor child is followed every day.
No, that is a little much, in my personal opinion. But then again, I don't think that it's anything that you can control now, It's just the way things have become now. And I don't really think that there's anything one can even do.
Your father's wife, Kareena Kapoor Khan, is the queen of the paparazzi. I've seen the way she walks a red carpet, the way she interacts with the pap. She knows how to do that whole thing.
She does.
What have you learned from her when it comes to just that media presence, that being a star? Because it's not just about what you do on screen, it's about what you do off it as well.
I think that Kareena has an immense amount of balance in the way that she does what she does. I think that she's a mother, and I think she's a good mother, and I think she's a good wife. And despite that, she is one of the most professional women that I know. She is shot pregnant. She's shot right after giving birth. So I think more than stardom, because honestly, stardom is not what one aspires for. What one aspires for is to have a fulfilled life. And films for me and her is, I think, a very large aspect of that fulfilled life. So even though she does handle the paparazzi with immense amounts of panache, that's not what I'm trying to imbibe from her. What I'm trying to imbibe from her and will endeavor to, and inshallah one day will, is the balance that she strikes. That is my stealing point from Kareena.
I was with your father, Saif Ali Khan, a couple of months ago. He was in London promoting Sacred Games at the time.
What a lovely show.
But we spoke a bit about you as well. We were speaking about your debut coming up. We were speaking about you kind of gearing up for this big launch. And he was saying that you two have always shared more of a relationship of friends,
Yes.
more than father and daughter.
Yes.
But he does say that, you know, he is feeling a bit reflective, that he does find it strange that you're paired opposite Ranveer Singh. Like, you know, it is making him think about where he sits in all of this.
Yeah.
Describe to me how that relationship's evolved.
You know, the thing is that because me and my father don't have like a tremendous age gap, and the fact that my father's never really adhered to just his age, you know, he's always been a little fun. I think that combination is, you know, ensured that we have a decently unconventional relationship, but with lots of respect and all intact. So
Yeah.
I don't really use the word friends because, I mean, there's a lot of respect there. Now that I'm kind of entering his world, if anything, conversations have become a little bit more about films. Like I said to you, he doesn't really like talking about that. He's almost like, now even you. I dealt with the fact that my wife, my mother, my sister, everybody wants to talk about Bollywood. You wanted to talk to me about World War II. What's going on? I say, we can multitask.
Yeah.
Let's do both.
Absolutely.
So I think that's more of the change. I don't think that there's much more of a change other than that. With both my parents, I mean, I think I'm still their little baby. It's just that now the little baby is doing hair and makeup and going on a set.
How many times have you been told that you look a spitting image of your mother? Because I'm sitting here and all I see is Amrita Singh. How many times have you been told of that resemblance, that similarity?
Constantly.
Yeah?
Constantly.
Well, I hope your career is as successful and amazing as
I
hers.
really, 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 really hope so.
Sara, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.